So there's the pain of discipline and there's the pain of regret, and the only difference is that the pain of the pretty much regret is weighed in ounces as opposed to the pain of discipline, which is weighed in tons. So really, let's talk about hormone balance and everything you need to know pretty much in totality. We are going to talk about estrogen dominance. We are going to talk about low testosterone, menopause, andropause. You're going to talk about high androgens, talk about low androgens, low testosterone, high testosterone, everything you want to know about hormone balance. Because obviously 80% of women deal with hormonal issues. Most of you come in, weight gain, weight loss resistance, that's a hormone issue. Most women, unfortunately, just because women fluctuate hormones throughout the month, they have follicular phase, they have menstruation, and then they have luteal phase. That is when their hormones are fluctuating. It first starts with estrogen getting higher, and then obviously during surge of menstruation, it will release more progesterone. So we'll talk about everything. Hopefully this is going. This is there, and we'll talk about that. So let's get into it here. So it's kind of long, so really just take it for what it is. You got the replay, and hopefully you can hear me. You can put a thumbs up if you can hear me, and then yeah, whoever's seeing this, you just drop the replay, and then you're good. So let's do this. So obviously hormones are pretty much chemical messages made by specialist cells. So inside your endocrine system, this is a little bit sciencey, but understand that hormones are made inside your body. You don't just, unless you're taking hormone in terms of bioidentical hormone. Even the supplements you take for hormone support, those are supporting the natural production of your hormones inside your body. Now, hormones are not just your estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Melatonin is a hormone, thyroid hormone, that's a hormone, and cortisol hormone. That's a cortisol, obviously. All right, that's a hormone, adrenal hormone. So yeah, melatonin is a hormone, DHEA is a hormone. There's tons of hormones inside your body. So it's just not about those. But here are common ways hormone issues impact life. Mood disorders, PMS, PMDD, you know this. Weight gain or weight loss sometimes. Endometriosis, uterine fibroids, PCOS, perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms, 100% hormonal issues, painful periods, heavy periods, infertility, miscarriages. Even IBS can be a cause of hormonal chaos. Thyroid disease, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's part of hormonal issues. Okay, obviously there's hormonal cancers, estrogenic cancers, that is breast cancers, all right, ovarian cancer, that's also things with hormones, and then sleep quality and obviously energy levels. These are all symptoms that are correlated with poor hormonal health. So, there, I don't know why. So here's some other things that most people do not know that's actually from their poor hormone balance. All right, migraines, that's from poor hormone balance. Burnout, fatigue, poor stamina, that's also could be from poor hormonal balance. Sugar cravings, that could be from hormonal balance. Hair loss, hair thinning, shedding, night sweats, obviously diminished libido, even just trouble orgasming. That's all signs of poor hormone balance, okay? Focus, concentration. I mean, there's just so much more. So if you want to heal your hormones, though, you have to heal the root cause. Because what happens is when you go to Western conventional medicine, when you have a hormonal issue, what they'll tell you to do is get on hormonal birth control or get on some type of other thing that's not going to fix the reason to why the hormones are off in the first place. Okay, now that's going to be a problem. Get the next one. I think this was white, but I can see it. It pretty much says, okay, hormone issues may be tied back to lifestyle, nutrition, stress, and more. Okay, cortisol issues can cause hormonal issues. Insulin, blood sugar. So if you have insulin resistance, that's going to cause hormonal issues. Poor thyroid health, that's going to cause issues as well. Constipation, poor digestion. Because if your gut's in shambles, then your hormones are not metabolically getting processed and metabolized inside your body. Now, another thing is obviously nutrient deficiencies. If you do not have the cofactors to make hormone, then you're not going to have the right hormone you want or need, I should say. Another thing is undereating or overeating. If you're eating too much, that's going to inflame your body and increase adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is weight gain. This weight gain is going to cause hormonal chaos by increasing your estrogen and decreasing your progesterone. That then will give you symptoms of weight loss resistance. More importantly, PMS, PMDD, heavy periods, painful periods, missed cycles at times if you are under eating, because under eating is a form of stress. Just eating coffee in the morning, or drinking coffee in the morning, running on 2 cheese sticks or whatever, that's going to cause so many issues hormonally as well. Xenoestrogens, toxins, and medication exposure. If you're taking a bunch of medications, even thyroid medication, that's going to cause hormonal issues. So really let's get into it now. Okay, estrogen dominance. So estrogen dominance relative to progesterone. Okay, so estrogen is obviously very important because your body has it for a reason. Okay, it helps protect against neurodegenerative diseases, helps keep bones strong, enhances collagen production, and creates a healthy uterus. All right, especially for female, obviously. So a big thing though is that when you have estrogen dominance, it's estrogen in ratio to progesterone. So if your body has too much estrogen, or I should just say more estrogen than progesterone, then you have pretty much estrogen dominance. Okay, so it can look like this on lab work or just look like this on just symptom assessment. So like high estrogen, normal progesterone, high estrogen, low progesterone, normal estrogen, low progesterone even, okay, and low estrogen and even lower progesterone. So it's all about the ratio of them two. So these are the most common symptoms of estrogen dominance: PMS, always feeling swollen, painful breasts, heavy periods, clots, cramps, histamine symptoms, even moodiness, migraines, anxiety in the second half of the cycle, extra weight in the hips and thighs. Estrogen dominance in males is associated with breast tissue enlargement, all different things here. So causes of estrogen excess, really. So what really causes it? Well, if you have PCOS, that's going to cause that. I mean, if you have cysts in your ovaries, that's going to cause your estrogen to be higher than your progesterone. Inflammation is as well. Inflammation can come from poor eating habits, overeating, excess weight, and just environmental factors. Pregnancy even can lead to higher estrogen, and then DHEA. Or if you're taking any type of unregulated supplement without even knowing, that will increase your estrogen. And then if you're drinking a bunch of alcohol, obviously sugar, processed food, that's all going to increase your estrogen for sure. I mean, if you have impaired detox pathways, I mean, that's why we work on your liver. That's going to also increase your estrogen. And then obviously glucose and insulin dysregulation is going to also increase the aromatase for your body to increase estrogen. So your body starts making more estrogen than it should, because the enzyme that blocks the excess estrogen to get inside your body, this is super simple terms, by the way, it's pretty much going to, it's not there. So a big thing is that a lot of people like to get testing done right away, but the issue with just getting testing right away is that it's just that snapshot of time. It's not actually what's going on a full week panel. Because let's say if you get testing done, okay, you're probably in follicular phase, maybe you're in luteal phase, like you got to get real testing done. And the best way to do that is pretty much, and luteal phase of your cycle is the most important time for a female to properly get their hormones checked, because then they're going to be able to also see their progesterone as well. Like that's going to be an accurate progesterone reading, because that's what's increased during luteal phase. Okay. And that's going to be the biggest thing. And then also blood sugar levels as well. So the big thing to do about helping with excess estrogen, so estrogen dominance, is obviously number one, I'd say, is eliminating alcohol. I mean, the first step that all you guys do is get rid of excess estrogen. And that's why you just lose weight right away, because it's moving all the estrogen outside of your body. That's why you lose weight, feel better, have the energy, because we're getting rid of all that excess estrogen. And we're doing so by using anti-inflammatory eating, but more importantly, we're getting rid of the toxins and things that we're already ingesting inside our body that are causing this issue. So a big thing is that if you are eating or if you've been drinking a bunch of alcohol, that's going to increase your estrogen. Obviously, if you're not having daily bowel movements, that's going to increase your estrogen. And then if you have bacterial overgrowth, that's also going to increase your estrogen as well. Okay, so the biggest thing is you got to support the clearance of estrogen. How do you do that? You actually support your liver and your gut microbiome. Because what happens is inside your gut, you have something called beta-glucuronidase. And so when you have beta-glucuronidase inside your gut, that's not properly removing excess estrogen, then it recirculates back in. And then now you have PMS, PMDD, heavy periods, painful periods, and all those symptoms: weight gain, bloated, swollen, everything. You have everything. But the reason why we get rid of that and you guys don't have that anymore is because we fixed those issues. We fixed the liver. Okay, we fixed liver detox. we remove these things, inflammation, and get rid of it. So obviously, this is why I don't tell you guys to really do that much training in the beginning, like, because we really want to get inflammation down and stress levels down. The best way to do that is to mitigate the stresses that we can implement on us. We can't always implement and manage stress inside our life in terms of work, relationships, and whatever you have to do. But you can pretty much manage the stress that comes from training. Okay, so if you dial back on the training initially, so in the beginning, then it will help with lowering that inflammation, the excess cortisol levels, which will then help improve the hormonal imbalance from the high estrogen. Okay, that's going to be a big thing. Obviously, like I just said, the morning sunlight exposure is going to be huge. It's going to get the circadian rhythm in check, and then that's going to also help as well with getting your hormones balanced, especially for lowering that estrogen. Now, a big thing too is the best supplement to support excess estrogen is just that extra cord. I mean, I see this through the intake assessments already, so I already know that you're dealing with high estrogen. So the estro cord is the best thing to do. Another good thing is the chaseberry. So the chaseberry is actually the Vitex. And I sent Vitex in the other day, but the Vitex, the chaseberry are both really good if you're dealing with estrogen dominance. Another thing you can do is always hormones, or I mean, a cortisol support, I think. So that's like the Cordy's for sure. That's going to also help as well. So let's talk about fibroids. All right, fibroids. According to a published study in Endocrine Reviews, nearly 80% of women will experience fibroids. 80%. That is more than 1 in every 2 women dealing with fibroids. So a big thing is that a lot of it goes unnoticed, but obviously they can lead to poor issues with fertility. It can lead to complications in pretty much excess bleeding, just everything. And obviously linked to high estrogen. So the thing is that what are the root causes of the fibroids? Because when you go see your doctor, they're not asking, what's causing these fibroids. They're asking, what medication do you want to take for your fibroids? So obviously oxidative stress is huge. This is pretty much reactive oxygen species, or ROS. So what that is pretty much in the environment we live in today, when there's so many toxins in the water, the air, just even the food we eat that's full of emulsifiers, preservatives, that leads to a bunch of inflammation on the cellular level. So what that then will do is lead to pretty much excess estrogen, which will lead to the fibroids, really. So obviously there's common risk factors with having the fibroids. There's, if you increased age is obviously one, but even just just ethnicity too, chronic stress, family history of uterine fibroids. So obviously that's genetically, but vitamin D deficiency is also one as well. And then alcohol intake, and especially beer. So let's see. Big thing is that we got to just lower estrogen down. So if we get estrogen levels down, then we can help with pretty much these fibroids. And we can do so by just using the estro cord. Like, that's going to be super helpful. And then also still avoiding the alcohol, the excess, like even gluten too as well. Like, all these things are going to help with that. So really with fibroids, I don't really suggest looking at like a Dutch test for fibroids. I really do access like just a pelvic exam, like an ultrasound, but really just fixing pretty much your lifestyle and getting your estrogen levels down. Because the thing is that most people think they need to test all the things, but unfortunately that just leaves them to analysis paralysis. They're not really even getting the results. They need to implement actual changes. They need to implement action, not wait for a test to tell them what to do. Because that's what people think. They need a diagnosis or a test. No, this is why I proved to everyone that you don't. This is why you get the results before we even do any testing. To prove to you that all you needed was a plan and consistent action to follow. Because that's how you get the results. You don't do it by just waiting for a test, because if we waited for a test, what does that do? And so that's a big thing. So we got to start with the flush. And then move into pretty much more of an anti-inflammatory eating, just like we always do. Obviously reducing alcohol and caffeine, and so forth. Another big thing is vitamin D. I need to make another post about that as well, but talking about getting enough vitamin D is going to be very helpful with the fibroids. So androgen dominance, this is a sleeper for many women that deal with acne, PCOS symptoms, like oily skin, like hair growth in the face. So androgens are often referred to as male hormones, but both sexes make androgens in different levels and ratios. Androgens have been shown to help support muscle function, bone density, memory, libido, energy, and more. Okay, the primary androgen is testosterone. Okay, but androstenedione, DHEA, DHEA sulfate, DHT, and androgen metabolites are also fallen into this category. Now, you probably don't know what that is. These are other, pretty much like they're mentioned, androgens that help you with, like we talked about, muscle function, bone density, memory, libido, energy, and more. Okay, in females, many androgens are used to produce estrogens. Okay, androgens are produced in the ovaries in females, adrenal glands, and even in fat cells. Thus, adrenal function, fat cells, and ovarian function will contribute to sex hormone balance. Okay, so a big thing is that if you're dealing with these issues, you'll have acne and oily skin, excess body fat and facial hair, balding, thinning hair on the head, irregular menstrual cycles, mood changes, challenging body composition management, reduction in breast size, elevated blood sugars, skin tags, difficulty getting pregnant, miscarriage, PCOS, prostate issues. So what are the root causes of androgen excess? Like, why do you deal with this? Well, PCOS, like I'd mentioned, inflammation. I mean, if you're taking any type of supplementation that's going to increase that at a super physiological dose, I mean, TRT. Cushing's disease, glucose and insulin dysregulation, chronic stress, post-birth control, androgen rebound is going to be also a big thing as well. So the best way that you want to get rid of this excess androgens is to lower your cortisol levels the first thing. Because remember, your body as a female is making these androgens from your adrenal glands as well. Okay, so that's a big part of where these hormones are getting made. So you got to get your cortisol levels down. Another thing I like to use is saw palmetto. Now, in the medical field, they'll use spirulactone. That's why they use that for PCOS, but that's obviously, something that is all case dependent. But metformin too, obviously, because insulin levels are going to also cause the androgen excess. But yeah, you got to see a practitioner though whenever you are using prescribed medications. Another thing is inositol. That's a great one. Berberine, EPA, DHA, ALA, and then NAC is going to support your liver in the aromatase as well. Low estrogen. So low estrogen is also a sleeper. Obviously, we talk about estrogen dominance, and many people deal with those symptoms like I correlated with those. But low estrogen is huge. I mean, like I mentioned, estrogen is extremely important for protecting against brain diseases, all right, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, building muscle, keeping bones strong, enhancing collagen production, and helping create a healthy uterus. So without adequate estrogen, the body will have lesser presence of cervical fluid and irregular ovulation. A lot of the times when you have low estrogen, it's paired with menopause symptoms of hot flashes, night sweats, and so forth. Okay, so if you're dealing with, so I put if your clients or whatever, you're dealing with estrogen is low, you need to figure out why you are not ovulating. So like I said, hot flashes, night sweats, painful sex, poor lubrication, vaginal dryness, even low sex drive, no ovulation, infertility, mood changes, poor cognitive function, moodiness plus irritability, and insomnia. So obviously causes. A lot of the causes of low estrogen is from high stress caused by overtraining, undereating, too much mental emotional stress, a lack of ovulation, post-pill, post-birth control, poor circadian rhythm. I talked about circadian rhythm. Poor pituitary function, that's really just stress that's in your brain, pituitary gland. Thyroid conditions, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's. Okay, hypothalamic amenorrhea, that's a sleeper. Hypothalamic amenorrhea, that means that you are not having a cycle as a female, but that mistakenly always gets put as PCOS, which unfortunately, that's not true. It pigeonholes you into saying that you have PCOS, but in reality you don't. You just have hypothalamic amenorrhea because you're not having a cycle due to typically high stress due to overtraining, undereating, malnourishment, eating disorders that you have, high stress, and so forth. Okay, hormonal birth control obviously suppresses natural production. That's going to lead to low estrogen, especially when you get off it, because now your body doesn't know how to make hormone anymore like it once did. Okay, big thing is that the symptom assessments show this for me, but like I said, you have to be getting the hormones tested at the right time. You have to do it at luteal phase. You can't just be taking hormones whenever or hormone testing whenever. Okay. So big thing with low estrogen is you got to get your cortisol levels down and fuel yourself, because the food is fuel. Food is fuel. Food is medicine. We should know this. This is naturopath stuff. This is called Ayurvedic medicine. This is natural, holistic stuff. And everyone wants to look good, feel good, all the things. This is how you do so. This is the tactical things. Tactical. I'm always about the tactical things, But yeah, you got to eat more. You got to eat. If you're not eating enough, then that's not gonna help with your body naturally making hormone, getting your cortisol levels down as well. So really, what I like to do, if a woman is dealing with low estrogen, you got to use pretty much any progesterone support, and then also you got to fuel yourself up. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Now, low testosterone. Low testosterone is very common as well, especially for a female. And you need testosterone as a female. I know it sounds like a male hormone. The thing is, I want you to think about this. So for a female, you want your hormones balanced. But as a male, you obviously want like testosterone to be high. That's the thing. So with testosterone in women, females, supports collagen, brain, sex drive, positive feeling, cognition, memory, red blood cell production, bone, muscle strength, and then males, whatever. And then females, estrogen levels, and all the things. So in females, testosterone is made in the ovaries, adrenals, and the remaining 50% is aromatase in peripheral tissue, primarily fat, from androstenedione and DHEA. Testosterone peaks in the third and fourth decades of life, 20s and 30s, and declines thereafter. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're gonna win here. We're gonna win. Don't worry, you'll win. This is just the information that unfortunately, Western conventional medicine, fitness instructors, we're not given this. This is just all because of the history that I have with everything. So, symptoms of low testosterone: low motivation or drive, depressed mood, poor concentration, memory, fatigue, low energy, low libido, increased body fat, especially around the abdomen, reduced strength and stamina, all the things. But what really causes low testosterone? If you're not ovulating, that's going to cause one for sure. But obviously, lack of sleep. If you're not even getting good quality sleep, that's going to lead to it. Stress, obviously, low DHEA is as well. That's why I suggested that in the group. Okay, ovarian or adrenal insufficiency, poor ovulation, hypothyroidism, high aromatase activity, all the things. Yeah, you really got to just see about hormone balance in terms of doing the right time of the month. So obviously a big thing is addressing sleep, supporting stress management, circadian rhythm, getting enough fuel in for sure, and then even weight training as well. Okay, so that's going to be the big thing. I really like using DHEA and then Jumpstart EC, but if I use DHEA and I use Vitex and I feed you up 300 to 400 calories over TDEE, as totally daily energy expenditure, while getting your cortisol levels down, while giving you the micronutrient support and thyroid boost to support your thyroid, that's going to give you everything you need to succeed. So that's why I like doing that. And then zinc, glycinate, boron are going to be two big ones. That's usually what I give to women that are dealing with low testosterone when I'm looking at it, because it is going to help with the natural production of testosterone. Now remember, I don't talk about it much, but we do got the telehealth medical clinic. So if a woman's in full-blown menopause, meaning their ovaries have just completely, they're now, you're at that point in life, then you could use bioidentical hormone. And I'm not against that if you are in full-blown menopause. If a woman is 60 and she's trying to have a vibrant life, vitality for her grandchildren, that is 100% what you should be doing. 100%. I mean, I put so many different guys on it safely, obviously, and all the things about the physicians. I mean, me too. They're talking with me, so I do that all the time. And so I really, it's a great tool when used at the right time and properly and correctly. So DHEA is a precursor, so you can take it and it will support testosterone production. Some other good things is I mean, this is going to be just way over heads, but L-arginine is going to help as well. Ginkgo biloba. I actually take ginkgo biloba daily for my brain health. I take a lot for my brain health. So if you want to see what my brain health stack is, I take a lot for that. So Takat Ali is a good one too. I just had another woman take that. Ashwagandha is in the Cordy's. That's going to actually help support it naturally as well. And then boron, I think, is going to be the best one. So yeah, that all in all is really what we're doing here. That was actually a lot shorter than I thought. So really, what I really want to do is seeing questions for this, because remember the reason why you're getting results right now is because you're following all this, and then you have the education behind, like, okay, like if you matched your symptoms with what's going on. So like if I was like, oh man, I have PMS, I have heavy periods, but I also have weight gain. Well, it could be I have high estrogen and low testosterone. It's almost like a puzzle. So you just got to puzzle, what's truly going on. But you don't have to do that because Diego's here to do that for you, and that's why you're getting the results. That's why you're losing weight in first weeks. You're getting back your energy. You're liking confidence, because we're not just out here doing whatever. Like, I know I'm a guy at the end of the day, but I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. That's why we're getting the results. That's why we're posting it. So we got the education behind it. So that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of what we're doing here. So a big thing too is that I believe that most women are dealing with estrogen dominance for sure, just due to environmental things. I mean, most guys are dealing with estrogen dominance too. You got the beer belly, you got man boobs, that's estrogen dominance. You got low sex drive, erectile dysfunction, that's estrogen dominance, paired with low testosterone. If you're a female and you're dealing with PMS, PMDD, heavy periods, weight gain, always bloated, you got poor cognitive function, brain fog, poor mental clarity, that's also high estrogen, but then also paired with low testosterone, just like a male. So that's why I have many couples that come through, like husband and wife, and then now they're making babies because they have their life back and vitality back, and actually their physiological issues that were problems after spending thousands on fertility doctors that worked with me, because we got to the root cause. And look at me, I'm just a guy here just sitting on Instagram and on a Zoom call, and we're still doing that. So another thing is that I think a big thing is that people undervalue that when you have a hormonal imbalance, you can use nutrition to help support it. So the issue is that obviously food is medicine. So food is medicine. So food helps heal. So the thing is that when you're dealing with these hormonal imbalances, having the right foods and then having enough foods is going to help with these imbalances. So if you're dealing with low testosterone and low estrogen, then you probably need to eat more. You probably aren't eating enough. You're probably eating like a protein, or you're probably drinking a protein shake in the morning. So you're getting your protein, and then you're probably having like some salad chicken. And so right there, you probably have only like 800, 600 calories for the day. And then at night, you probably indulge 1,000 calories, and then you think you overeat. But at the end of the day, you're actually eating 1,600 calories, which is not enough. Not enough. And then what happens on the weekend is that you overeat like by another 1,000 calories, so you're actually at like 3,200 calories for the weekend, and then throughout the week, that just puts you at a net deficit. But here's the thing: if you're at that net deficit, now your cortisol is going to increase. It will decrease thyroid function, okay, which will throw off metabolic function. This is why women are on the cycle. I say this because I know I'm going on, but I say this because when I worked at the nutritional stores, I did the InBody scans. And this is what it was crazy when I looked at women's body composition and weight. So the woman would come to me, be like, oh man, I get to see this handsome guy, Diego again. No, I'm kidding. But just, so what happened was that they did the scale. And then what happened is the next week, they just lost muscle and they gained fat. And it's because they're just, not eating correctly. And so that's really the rant on how nutrition plays with hormone balance. Okay. It's because that's a big thing too, because many women, I mean, they're taking all the supplements, but yet they're not eating properly. And I mean, it's probably because they don't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So a big thing is that you gotta just do that. So another big thing I do want to talk about is that low progesterone in females. Low progesterone is going to give you migraines, insomnia, all the things. So I really suggest to using the Vitex. I suggest using the Vitex with the EstroCort because it's going to help with pretty much getting that estrogen down, but then getting that progesterone up. That's really a big thing. And I think a big thing too for females is that if you spent years on birth control, you got to get zinc and B complex in. You got to get zinc and methylated B vitamins in, because if you do not, then your body isn't going to have the cofactors. That means the minerals and nutrients it needs to pretty much make hormone. So the thing is though, that's kind of why you're here with me. You kind of don't need to think about all this. This is just to help you have that empowerment. You see your aunt, you see your aunt, you see your sister-in-law, you see whoever, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" They see you and they see the inflammation down. They just see you looking slimmer in the clothes, and they're asking you, "What are you doing?" Well, first you give them Diego, but then the second you tell them what's going on. Well, there's a lot of inflammation you're probably ingesting inflammation, and then there's probably some internal imbalances going on. Because remember, the complete vitality, okay, we're trying to transform everything. We first have to fix the inside before we try to fix what's going on the outside. Because what happens then is if we fix the inside, we fix what's going on hormonally, metabolically, structurally, physiologically, then we can get more responsive into the other things that we do later on. That's why we have a process. So so hopefully this was helpful. We'll end this live here.